Hey, it's KJ. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be unpacking from my Disney Cruise Line vacation and Walt Disney World vacation, but I'm not going to be unpacking the way you might be thinking. Like, I'm not going to be showing you myself unpacking and then speeding it up. What I'm going to do is go through each bag and show you things that I used for the trip or didn't use for the trip, because in my pack with me video, if you guys went and watched the beginning of the series where I showed you what I packed with me for our Disney Cruise Line and Walt Disney World vacation, I might have said, oh, I'm packing this for this reason, or I'm packing that for that reason. But you never really know what you're going to use until you actually go on vacation. So I wanted to share with you guys what I actually used, what I wouldn't bring next time, what I would recommend bringing next time, what I wouldn't recommend bringing next time, and all of that. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first bag I have here is my embarkation day bag / park bag. So the first thing that I used that I didn't think I might use is this Tide to Go pen. And let me tell you guys, this was a lifesaver because I got this the day before we left for our trip. I saw it at Five Below and I was like, yeah, I'm going to pick one up. Like, I usually use shout wipes, but I'm going to grab one of these. And thank goodness I did, because I have an 8-month-old and he had a bit of an explosion, if you know, on the baby carrier. And I was like, oh my goodness, this thing is ruined. This was on our travel day. This happened the night of our travel day. So it would have been our entire trip. Well, this little pen thing, let me tell you, it is magical. This is pure magic. It got everything out. Like, I couldn't believe it. It got everything out. So definitely would recommend picking up a Tide to Go pen, and just keep Tide in mind because Tide will come back later. So just save that little nugget, because Tide really was a lifesaver on this trip, and just, keep that in mind. So moving on. Next, so I did bring the bib for my 2-year-old. He did not use it. I also have the placemats. So these are things that go on the table for your little one. So if you have an infant or a younger toddler, one of my toddlers is 2.5. So he didn't use these, and my 4.5-year-old, she didn't use them either. But if you have younger toddlers, like last year I brought them, and my 2-year-old, now 2-year-old, when he was 18 months old, he used them all the time. So depending how old your kiddos are, you may or may not need them. And then the utensils, those are in here too. My kids did use them. Always use the utensils. I think these are great to bring. I have a spoon and a fork for each of my kiddos, and I 100% would recommend using these, because a lot of times they only have like adult size silverware. So I would 100% recommend bringing your own silverware for your little ones, because every trip that I've been on to Walt Disney World with kids, and my now 4.5-year-old was 18 months old the first time we took her, I've always used them. So highly recommend that. I did share with you guys my rain gear in the pack with me, and I didn't use it because it didn't rain. So the jury is still out on these little foot guards, or what do they call them? These latex waterproof shoe covers. So I can't speak to that because it did not rain. So you guys will have to stay tuned for another Disney trip to see if it does rain or not, and if we use them. These tiny dinos are another thing I got for my 2-year-old. He didn't use them. He was very into stickers. So I think it really depends on your kids, on what they're into. He's very into dinosaurs, but he just wanted to do stickers. And so did my 4-year-old, which I knew she would want to do. But my 2-year-old was kind of like, I wasn't sure what he might want to do. He was very into stickers. So I think it's always good to have a backup, even if your kids are super into something, to have some other things that maybe they haven't seen. But I will bring these next time. And the good thing is he hasn't seen these yet. So hopefully if he's bored of stickers next time, I have these for next time. My kids' little digital cameras. Now, our last trip, they used them the entire time. This time they didn't really use them at all. So I was actually surprised. They usually love them and they ask to play with them at home as well. But we didn't really use them this time. I don't know if it's just because we were on the cruise and we were only like at the parks for a couple of days, so it was just kind of a big whirlwind. I think when we go this summer, because we will be going back to Walt Disney World this summer, I'm pretty sure that they will be using these, and probably using them the entire trip. We're going to be there for like 7 or 8 days, so I'm sure these will come out and entertain them. But again, just want to be transparent with you guys on what we did use and what we didn't use on this past trip. As always, my stroller clips, super handy. I use these to put muslin blankets over my kids when they're in the stroller. I highly recommend getting some kind of clips to put on your stroller. And don't get like 2 or 3 like you guys. I have tons of them in here. I probably have like 10, especially if you have a double stroller. Maybe not 10, maybe like 8. But, especially if you have a double stroller, I just recommend using them. Like, you need them, and using a muslin blanket. I mean, there's other things you can use to probably cover your kids' strollers, but I think the muslin blankets and the clips are the way to go, because I feel like you can always use those things in other ways. If you just have something that covers your stroller, it's just for that purpose. So That's what I would recommend, using the clips and the muslin blankets. Next up, I did have Ziploc bags to use for the cruise, to grab like cheese and crackers or something like that, but we ended up not using these either. We did our last cruise, but not this time. I don't know, maybe we were just like full every time, and I had goldfish in the room. The kids just preferred that if they needed a quick snack, but basically like between getting soft serve and just, 3 meals a day, we didn't need it. So we did get room service once. We did that for breakfast, but that's just because I knew I was going to be up super early because I did do a full tour of the Disney Dream. So that will be coming out very soon. So make sure you guys are on the lookout for that. But yeah, I only ordered room service that one time. I got some English muffins and juice, and that was it. And didn't end up using these. However, I still would recommend bringing them on your Disney trips because I do think a lot of times they come in handy. Another thing to share, the autograph books. We did not use them really at all on this trip. We did once. Winnie didn't use them at all. My 4-year-old and my 2-year-old used them one time when we met Chip and Dale, and they ended up signing on the same page. And we only used it that one time. John and Winnie went and rode dinosaurs, so the boys and I met Chip and Dale. I don't really recommend using them on the cruise. I just feel like, I don't know, I don't think it's necessary. Just personally, I feel like it kind of, I don't know, it's just not the same as when you're in the parks. We usually only use autograph books when we have character dining. That's typically when we use them. It's just easier. Do I think you need them for the cruise? No. If you want to bring them, sure, but I really don't think they're necessary for the cruise. For the parks, yes, not for the cruise. So that's everything I want to share with you in this bag. Moving on to the next bag. Next up, I grabbed everything that was in our suitcases. So I unpacked the clothes already. I did my laundry. I put all of that away. And then I had some odds and ends that were in the suitcases. So I grabbed that to share with you. So this is actually a Disney Cruise Line reusable bag that we got on our last cruise. Love this bag. And I packed it and we did use it. So I would recommend grabbing an extra bag to use on your trip. So first up are our Disney ears, our mini ears. So I have 2 pairs that I did end up wearing. I wore the pirate ears for Pirate Night, and I did wear the Disney Cruise Line ears a couple of times. I thought I was going to wear Mickey Mouse ears, but I decided to leave those home, and I wore the Cruise Line ears twice because that's really the only place you can wear the Cruise Line ears is on a cruise, right? These were only $10 on Amazon. They're super comfy. I would highly recommend them. I don't have an Amazon storefront or, links, but if you guys just search on Amazon for Pirate mini ears or Disney Cruise Line mini ears, you'll find them. And I think they're great quality. Again, they're only $10. They're so affordable, and I got a pair for myself and my daughter and love them, and we got so many cute pictures with them. Next up are our fish extenders and our door magnets. Now, we definitely use our fish extenders way more than I thought. So when we went on the Disney Wish, we got pixie dusted one time, which was great. I was so excited that we got pixie dusted. But however, on the Disney Dream, you guys, we got pixie dusted every single day, several times a day. It was awesome. My sister and I were so excited that our kids just kept getting pixie dusted. It was so cool. So if you guys want to know what we got in our fish extenders, I think I'm going to do that as its own video. And anyway, so we did use our fish extenders quite a bit. So highly recommend getting a fish extender, or I do have a tutorial on how to make a fish extender. I also have another tutorial coming up because I made another fish extender. So be on the lookout for that. And the magnets as well. The magnets are just so much fun, and it really is easier to find your door because on the Wish, there's only one elevator bank. So you were just kind of going the same way every time. On the Dream, there were 3 elevator banks, so we just came from different directions all the time. So sometimes we'd come from one way, sometimes we'd come from the other way, or the middle, or what have you. And it was just so easy to find our door. We'd be running down the hallway there. Well, if you guys saw the vlog, then you'll know that the Castaway Key Day was a hot mess, but I was running down the hallway that day. But it was just easy to find our door from using the magnets. So highly, highly recommend getting magnets for your door. Next up, my toiletries. Now you might be like, KJ, why are you showing us your toiletries? Well, if you watched my pack with me, then you'll have seen I use these little silicone toppers. Guys, they work perfectly. They didn't come off. You see, they're still on. I mean, they were perfect. Even this one here, it's not all the way down to the bottom, and it never came off. So I recommend those as well because it just was better than the painter's tape that I used to use. They didn't tear. I thought maybe they might tear. Didn't tear. They worked great. So if you have toiletries and you're worried about them spilling, I would 100% recommend these. I got mine on Temu, but you can probably find them on Amazon as well. Next up, I have this carrier here. So I got this specifically for going in the water with my 8-month-old. Now, it's not your typical carrier where you could fully have your baby supported. So here it goes on like this, and then the baby sort of sits in it, but it's just not as high quality as like my other ones. So it's not really hands-free. It's more like an assist. Like the baby could definitely fall out. Like I felt like when I had the baby sitting this way, if I bent down, he would have like fell out of it. So it's definitely more of an assist. Would I recommend getting it? I'm sort of on the fence. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. I got it off of Amazon and I just don't know if I think it's worth it. It was $90 and I used it twice. I used it when we went to Castaway Cay when we were in the water, and it was nice to have, but again, I always felt like the baby might fall out of it. So you really have to, again, treat it as an assist because it did take some of the pressure off my back, which is nice. It's waterproof, so I didn't have to worry about it getting wet and not drying. I use it in the splash area as well, like the Finding Nemo splash pad. So I'm on the fence. The jury's still out. If you guys follow me and watch our trip for this summer, again, we're going later this summer, you'll see if I kept it or not. The jury's out. I feel like it's a lot for 90 bucks. Like I feel like 90 bucks is a lot for this, for it to not be like, oh my gosh, you guys need to have it. That said, I did find it on Amazon. I think I just looked for like a waterproof baby carrier. So, if you want to look for one, if you have, if you think that $90 is not expensive, then, and you want one, like by all means get one. If $90 seems like a high price point, then I would skip it. I guess that would be my advice. Like if you feel like 90 bucks is not a big deal, go for it. If like me, I'm kind of like, I don't think it's worth 90 bucks, then skip it. So, or see what I say in August if I still have it. Next up are the hooks. So I did end up using them for our hats. There were, I think, 3 hooks already in the room, and I didn't really need hooks for my hats. Like I hung them because I could, and I hung my like extra hats on the hooks, but I didn't really find them necessary, so I wouldn't say like you really need them. We didn't use them on our first trip, and I used them because I had them on this trip, not because I needed them, because I definitely could have gotten away with not using them, and I didn't feel like I needed them. And my sister, she didn't use any. I had extras and she was like, nah, I'm good. So I know some people like to bring lanyards on their trips and keep the world card in there. We just don't. I just always have my wallet on me, and that's where I keep mine. John, same for him. So we just don't really use lanyards. My sister and her husband didn't use them either. Lanyards, they didn't use lanyards either, so they didn't really need hooks for that. So I'd say pass on the hooks unless you really think like you need them to hang your hats and your lanyards. And the last odds and ends kind of thing are these glow sticks here. So these are like little unicorns, and I think I have a dinosaur as well. So I had 2 unicorns and a dinosaur. I ended up not pixie dusting the kids with these for a couple reasons. We just kept getting pixie dusted, so I didn't feel the need to give them extra tchotchke type things. And then I thought we might use it at night, but we ended up not going to the pirate party. My kids actually don't like fireworks, so they don't like the loud noise. They don't like it. Even with the ear protectors, they're just not fans of fireworks. They don't like the loud noise. So we ended up skipping the fireworks and going to meet Captain Hook because there was no line for him because everyone was going to the pirate party to see the fireworks. So if we had done the pirate party, then yes, I would have given it to them. I think they would have thought that was cool to have them. Otherwise, I think skip them. Next up is my plane bag. So let's dive in here. 100% recommend getting one of these. The outlets, like with the extra outlets. We didn't need a ton of extra outlets. I was trying to find my European adapter. I couldn't find it. Like I haven't been to Europe in years, but I do have one from having been to Europe several times. So I couldn't find it, and I was like, oh gosh, like I'm not gonna have that extra outlet, but I ended up not needing it. We had this, and then I also had a USB adapter with 4 ports, so that was great, but I felt like we didn't need anything else. That was enough. So, and I have a lot of vlogging equipment and a lot of things to charge, and I just didn't feel like I needed anything else. So, if you have a couple of these, bring them, but I really didn't feel like we needed that many. On the Wish, we definitely didn't need them because there's tons and tons of outlets and ports. I think there's USBs, and I think there might even be some USCs. I forget what they're called. Whatever the new thing is. I'll put it down here because I don't remember. But yeah, I didn't think you need that many. I will have a room tour coming out so you guys can see exactly where all the outlets are and then maybe make a judgment based on that. But I just didn't think you needed like a ton. I think one of those and maybe like another adapter is just fine. Zip ties. I did use these for all my wires. I did get a little pouch for my wires. I did use it. Thought that was great. So if you need reusable zip ties, I think it's great to help keep your wires organized. Next up, I have a ton of activities for my kids. I'm not going to go through all of them. It's mostly stickers, but a couple of things that stuck out. We did play this memory game on the plane. I played it with my daughter. She loved it. It entertained her for at least a half hour, and the only reason we stopped playing is because she wanted to take a nap. So I think this was great. There's just a bunch of different ones. You can choose this one's fruit, and then they have shapes and colors, and animals and just different things. And they have a front and a back. So, I mean, there's just, I don't even know how many are here. Maybe like 10, at least 10. I think there's 10. So my daughter loved this. She's 4.5. Well, she's almost 4.5. And she absolutely loved it. Here's all the cards on the back, if you guys can see. So those are all of the cards. And yeah, my daughter loved it. So I think if you keep this as something that's, special for travel, she's not going to remember where like the things were, months from now. So I would recommend this if your kids like memory games. It's also nice because you just can like pick it up like that and it's not a mess. So this is definitely something that will be coming with us on future trips. The water wows are great. This entertained my 2-year-old. You guys can see it's already dried. He loved this. The pen is not in here because we have another one that is missing the pen. So he was doing that one the other day. But this one was great for him. It entertained him. This one has 4 different pages to do. So I thought this was a great activity. We have a blue one that my daughter loves as well. And again, that's something that we only really bring out for meal times, like we go out to eat at home or like on trips like this. This wire pouch, you guys, I was referencing this just a minute ago. So like I mentioned, the reusable zip ties, I thought they were great for keeping things organized. This wire pouch was great for keeping my wires organized. Like I didn't think I needed it in my life, but let me tell you, it's much better than a Ziploc bag. And here is the charger that I was referencing, the 4-port USB charger. Like I just didn't think I needed anything else, but this was great. I got this off Temu. I loved it. Like can't recommend enough. You probably can find it on Amazon as well, but I loved it. I loved how compact it is and just kept everything so organized. Next up, this wet dry bag. I didn't think I was going to use it, but I did. I ended up using it for the kids' swim shoes and our bathing suits, and it was just nice because I knew like nothing was going to get wet. It was great. So I got this one on Temu as well. Would recommend getting one. You can use a Ziploc bag too. I've always used Ziploc bags in the past, but it's nice because I can just reuse this. I can wash it and reuse it. So love this. Definitely recommend getting one. I think mine's like a size medium. The last thing from this bag is this little gadget here. I'll show you guys some B-roll of this. So I did end up using this on the plane. You hook it onto the table tray in front of you or your table tray and you put your phone on it and you can watch movies, whatever, just watch things on your phone. And I ended up using it and it was great because I had my AirPods in, I was holding the baby, my kids were either like content or they were sleeping and I could watch something hands-free. Like highly, highly recommend. Very affordable from Temu. Could probably again find something similar on Amazon, but this was great. Going into the trip, I was like, oh, I'm probably not gonna use it, but I did and I loved it. The last thing from this bag I want to mention are my kids' headphones. Again, these are just $5 from Five Below. The one thing I will say, if you're using an Apple gadget with them, I don't think I mentioned this in my pack with me, is to have a lightning adapter, which I have for each kid. So just something to note there. If you're going to be using it with an Apple product, you need a lightning adapter for them. But it's great because they're sound control, so you can control how high the volume is. It maxes out at a certain point though, and it just maxes out at such a low volume, but you can still hear it, but it's low enough that like it's just not too loud. It's perfect. So for $5, I feel like you cannot beat that price. I know people like Bluetooth, but I just feel like these for $5 for my kids, like when they get a little bit bigger, I'll invest in Bluetooth. I have one more bag to go through with you, so let's dive in. All right, guys, so the last bag. So remember I said to keep Tide in mind? Well, this is why. So Tide was like a hero on this trip. I had these Tide Sync packets. And I got them because, other people have recommended them. And I'm like, if I don't want to go do laundry in the little laundrette or laundromat, depending on what ship you're on, I was like, you know what? I'll get them. Like, we'll see if I use them. Well, you guys, like I mentioned, that first night, my 8-month-old had a bit of an explosion. And I only brought one pair of leggings because I was only planning to wear them on our travel day down, like on the plane. And then usually I change, like, sometimes in the airport or like as soon as we get to the resort or hotel, wherever we're staying. And then I wear them to fly home, like just for the flight home. And well, you guys, baby had other plans. So I ended up using these because I only needed to wash the pants. It wasn't terrible, but it was enough where like I needed to wash the pants, and I did use the packet. I even did a little video on it because I actually tried to find a video on how to use the Tide packets like before I bought them. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a video too. So again, be on the lookout for that. I got so much content coming, you guys, but definitely grab them. It was like $5 for, a 3-pack of these. I have 2 left. I'll bring them on our next Disney trip or Disney cruise too. And yeah, don't go without these because if you don't want to do like a load of laundry, but you have like one thing you need to wash, this and the Tide to Go pen like are must for me. So other than the laundry detergent there, I don't have a ton in this bag that I really need to go over with you guys. I have more activities, just more stickers, which again, that's unique to my kids. My kids love stickers, so absolutely will be bring those again. And then basically everything in there are diapers and snacks. But the last thing I want to share with you are these buckets. So we did not use them on our trip, though I would still recommend them because I just think if you're going to go to Castaway Cay or even to Disney World, if you have one of those like man-made beaches, I'd recommend them. We didn't use them this time because if you saw in our vlog, our Castaway Cay day got cut short. It was delayed. It was a whole thing with docking the ship. So we didn't even get on like Castaway Cay till I think noon or something like that. Where last year, I think we were on by like 9:30, 10. So it was just like a whole thing. So we didn't get to use them, but I would still recommend them. So that is everything that I wanted to share with you in this unpack with me. Now I actually have to unpack all of this and put it away. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel. If you're new and you like the content, I would love to have you subscribe. I have a ton of content coming your way. A cruise ship tour of the dream, a room tour of the dream. I have a tour of Animal Kingdom Lodge, a room tour from Animal Kingdom Lodge, just a lot of tips and tricks videos, what I learned on this trip to pass on to you guys. So much coming, you guys. So I would love for you to stick around. And if you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a little suitcase emoji because I always like to see who makes it to the end of the video. And with that, I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.